Urgent Birds fan! Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we bring you daily videos with the latest birds news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Eagles! Eagles! NFL rumors. Howie Roseman returns to aggressive ways with Eagles-Rams trade suggestion. The Eagles could look to make a trade in the draft. The NFL draft is just a month away, and there could be a lot of movement when it comes to trades and things of that sort. Everyone is wondering what could happen at the beginning of the draft, but not many people are worried about what could happen toward the end of the first round. The Philadelphia Eagles are a team to look out for, and they could try to get a higher pick in the first round. In a trade scenario from NFL.com, the Eagles are receiving the 26th and 190th picks from the Los Angeles Rams for the 32nd, 96th, and 168th picks. Eagles general manager Howie Roseman took a year off from trading up in the first round in 2024. Can he really stop himself from getting back in the mix this April? Maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if he climbs the board for one of this year's top receivers or to add more pieces to Philly's stellar defensive line, NFL Network's Chad Reuter wrote. The day 2 pick he'd send to LA wouldn't be a deterrent because he could pick up more assets in separate deals later during the weekend. Rams GM Les Snead and coach Sean McVay have had a ton of success finding contributors on days 2 and 3, so securing extra capital while only moving down 6 slots could be right in their wheelhouse. LA is positioned to take the best available player at the end of the first round, though I imagine they'll have their eye on which DBs are still available at number 32. Could Howie Roseman make a deal in the first round for the Eagles? Howie Roseman has always shown that he can be the most aggressive person in the league when it comes to trades, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he did the same this time around. Being aggressive has led the Eagles to get some of the best draft picks, and it has also led them to get some of the best talent in the NFL in general. It would be interesting to see if the Rams would be willing to help the Eagles in this scenario, especially since they beat them in the playoffs. Nonetheless, the Rams are getting 3 picks in return, so it may be worth their while to make the deal. Roseman doesn't surprise anybody, and he could be looking to make some deals before the draft arrives. Pausing this news just to say that. If you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Eagles Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Proposed Eagles signing adds former 120-miler superstar edge to replace Bryce Huff. The Philadelphia Eagles worked the second wave of free agency to add depth to their depleted edge rusher group, and the search will likely continue leading up to the 2025 NFL Draft and beyond. 3 of Philly's top players at the position entering 2024, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, and Bryce Huff, are either no longer on the roster. Sweat, Graham, or likely won't be by the start of the 2025 season. Huff. The Eagles do have a pair of young, ascending stars in Nolan Smith Jr. and Jalix Hunt, and made a pair of upside signings in Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, but as we stand about a month before the draft, Philly's probably still a body short at that position. Glenn Irby of USA Today's Eagles Wire recently explored a number of signings the team could still make, and one potential veteran addition on his radar is Von Miller, who just turned 36 and spent the past 3 seasons in Buffalo. Here was Irby's take. Every team needs a closer at edge rusher, and if the Eagles really wanted to get creative, they could make a run at Von Miller. The 8-time Pro Bowler had 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 8 QB hits, and 17 total tackles in 13 games. Last season, Eagles fans and content creators have dreamed about potential trades for Myles Garrett or Trey Hendrickson this offseason, but adding a superstar talent like that was really never in the cards due to the draft capital going out and the mega contract extension coming in with said player. Miller feels a lot more realistic, as long as he's willing to take a 1-year deal and pay cut with an eye on helping Philly repeat as Super Bowl champions. Another layer here is Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, who took the head coach job with the Denver Broncos in 2019, with Miller firmly supplanted as Denver's leader and face of the franchise. While Miller rebuffed any rift between himself and the always brutally honest Fangio, he was ultimately traded to the Los Angeles Rams under Fangio's watch for a pair of day 2 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft. It's unclear how much Miller has left in tank, but he did enjoy a nice bounce-back season with Buffalo in 2024 as a situational pass rusher. He posted 40 pressures and 6 sacks in just 332 total defensive snaps, a year after posting a goose egg in the sacks category in 2023. Fangio likes to rotate his edge defenders, with Sweat 821, Smith 755, and Hunt 343 leading Philly's group in total snaps in 2024. Miller could actually fit in well here as a specialist the team deploys in obvious third down and 2-minute situations, but any potential signing would come down to cost a 1-year, incentive-laden deal in the range of $10 million could make sense, and Fangio's sign-off. Eagles urged to make former Pac-12 star new backup QB behind Jalen Hurts. Whatever the Philadelphia Eagles saw in backup quarterback Tanner McKee in 2 games at the end of the 2024 regular season, it made them feel confident enough to trade Kenny Pickett to the Cleveland Browns. It didn't make them confident enough to not get another backup quarterback in return, swapping Pickett for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 2025 fifth-round pick on March 10th, while Pickett, a former first-round pick, now gets a chance to start in Cleveland. The battle to become the number 2 quarterback for the Eagles behind reigning Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts seems to just be getting started. Bleacher Report's Mo Moton put the panic meter for the Eagles at his lowest ranking of 1 headed into 2025, and projects Thompson-Robinson will become the backup over McKee. Hurts and Thompson-Robinson have similar skill sets, so the move makes sense. From Philadelphia's perspective, Moton wrote, McKee impressed in his lone career start, throwing for 323 yards and 4 touchdowns against the New York Giants in Week 18 last season. The Eagles have a star quarterback, a backup who can mimic some of their starters' abilities, and an intriguing developmental passer. McKee turned heads with late-season performance when Hurts went down with a concussion in the first quarter of a Week 16 loss to the Washington Commanders. Pickett filled in until he was knocked out of the game with a rib injury, and McKee finished the game. Pickett started a 4-17 win over the Dallas Cowboys in Week 17, but had to leave in the third quarter with another rib injury. McKee, 6'6" and 231 pounds, went 3-0-4 passing for 54 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions to close out the game. McKee started the regular season finale against the Giants, a meaningless game where the majority of the Eagles starters sat, and led his team to a 2013 win by going 27-41, passing for 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The Eagles selected McKee in the 6th round, number 188 overall of the 2023 NFL Draft. Thompson-Robinson made 48 starts in 5 seasons at UCLA and was a 2-time All-Pac-12 selection before the Browns drafted him in the 5th round, number 140 overall in 2023. In 5 starts over the last 2 seasons, Thompson-Robinson went 14 and didn't look like a competent NFL quarterback. He threw for 880 yards, 1 touchdown, and a stunning 10 interceptions while completing just 6% of his passes. He did show some effectiveness running the ball with 35 carries for 187 yards and no touchdowns for an average of 3 yards per carry. In a strange twist, Thompson-Robinson's one win as a starter came against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 11 of the 2023 season, with Pickett as the Steelers' starting quarterback. Another option for Eagles draft backup quarterback Thompson-Robinson and McKee are both negligible financial investments. They're scheduled to make a combined $1 million in 2025. That means the Eagles might be able to take a flyer on a quarterback in the middle to late rounds. One player who might be too good to pass up in the 4th round and beyond would be Alabama's Jalen Milroe, a player who was once projected as a first-round pick. Bleacher Reports Brent Sobleski put Milroe at the top of his list of players dropping. On draft boards on March 14th, Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe is who he is, a tremendous athlete with immense upside who needs significant development with his footwork and accuracy, Sobleski wrote. His issues weren't going to be solved in one off-season, particularly while the 22-year-old works his way through the arduous pre-draft process. And now, Birds fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Birds. I'll be back any moment with more Eagles Nation news. Fly, Eagles, fly!